For indoor or party scenes, there are a couple things that you can do to the camera to best optimize it. For one, you can change your mode dial to SCN. Like most scenes, the scene mode does have a party or even a candlelight scene. So you can choose party, press set, and this will optimize the camera for party scenes. Now, you don't have control over white balance. I can use the flash, and I would recommend doing so. Just pop the flash, and by default the flash is set to slow synchro, which is fine because you want to get some of that ambient light in. Also, you may want to make sure that your focus is set to the center point. So press the quick menu button, hold that down for a second, and you may be on phase detect, but if the camera can't detect faces because the lighting is too low, then what you want to do is go to one area. With the autofocus mode set to one area, you can press the quick menu button, and you have these brackets in the center which allow you to focus on the subject's face, press the shutter button halfway, and then recompose the image. Now, if you want to have control of your white balance and ISO, what I would recommend doing is not to use the scene mode, but instead turn your mode dial to program. Here I can set my white balance. Just go ahead and press the quick menu button for a second. Move over to white balance and go down. If you're going to use the flash, go with flash. If you're not going to use the flash, go with halogen to compensate for the halogen lights or the tungsten lights in the scene. In order to maintain a faster shutter speed, you may need to increase the ISO. So let's go over to ISO and turn that up to 400. Press the quick menu button. Now my white balance is properly set and my ISO is set. I don't want the flash to brightly illuminate the foreground of the image, leaving the background completely dark. So leave your ISO high even if you use the flash, and press the up navigation button or the exposure compensation button 3 times to get to the flash exposure value. And then move that down a bit, especially if your subjects are closer to the camera. You don't want to have the subject come out too bright. If the subject is farther away, or if you're taking a picture of a long table with people, then you may want to increase the power of the flash. But in this case, we're pretty close to the subject. We want to get them well lit, but we also want to leave the shutter open long enough to expose for the ambient light. Go ahead and press set. Now my flash is not going to be too powerful. The flash is also set to slow synchro. You can do that by pressing the flash button on the right and choosing slow synchro at the bottom. Press set. This will allow the flash to pop, but the shutter speed to stay open long enough to expose for the ambient light. Now the reason why I want my ISO a little bit higher, even if I'm using the flash, is because I'm using the slow synchro. I don't want the shutter speed to be too slow because I am, after all, hand holding the camera. So now with my ISO at 400, my white balance set to tungsten or flash, depending on whether I'm using the flash or not. In this case, I am using the flash, so it's set to slow synchro, and the power of the flash is turned down just a little bit. Go ahead and press the shutter button halfway. Remember, focus on your target, then recompose the image, and press the button the rest of the way to take the picture. To find out much more about digital photography and your digital camera, go to lbguides.com.